Coast Wrestling of Louisiana presents Spring in the Ring, live April 28th at the Amelia Recreation Center in Amelia, Louisiana. For more ticket information, call 985-518-0433 or visit our brand new website, gcw-gulfcoastwrestling.com.
Oh, hey folks, this is Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're watching WGS-TV. Tough guy.
Welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGame. I'm Don't Be Billy Boudreaux, and this is going to be my Monday Night Raw review for the week of April 23rd, 2012. Now, this Monday Night Raw was a 3-hour edition of the show. Now, originally it was planned to have the draft, but since both shows have kind of combined already, it was kind of pointless, so they didn't do that. So what they started the show off with was, well, we were originally supposed to have the contract signing between John Cena and Brock Lesnar, and it did not turn out that way. Cena was out there, but then we get the surprise appearance of WWE Hall of Famer Edge. And, you know, he tried to have like a little pep talk for Cena. Trying to get him to wake up, because if this Cena faces Lesnar Extreme Rules, he will lose, and it'll be a slap in the face to everyone in the business and the industry and whatnot. One thing you need to keep in mind, guys, is yeah, this is a new hat, by the way. I don't know where my Pac-Man hat went, so I'm going with the George Jones hat. Anyway, for Edge to come out here and give a pep talk like this, telling him to wake up and this person faces him, it's somewhat reminiscent of, if I can remember correctly, I think it was a pep talk that Mick Foley gave to Edge before he faced The Undertaker, I think inside Hell in a Cell. It was either the Hell in a Cell or the TLC match, but it was somewhat reminiscent of that. But I thought it was a really great opening segment. Nice surprise to have Edge back there. I'm sure there's some more details as to why Edge was really there. If I can, get those details for you guys, I definitely will make a video reporting on what I find. But as far as this opening segment goes, 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was a great opening. Even though it didn't go the route we were thinking, that nobody knew that Edge was going to come out there. It was a complete shock to me. I'm sure it was a complete shock to everybody. So I like it when WWE puts in that shock value. Pulls in that swerve. Does the thing that we never really anticipated, and nobody really anticipated seeing Edge there on Monday Night Raw. So that's why I give it a 4.5 out of 5. We open up the opening matchup. It was Chris Jericho and Kofi Kingston. Really great opening match. But I really can't say anything bad about it. Jericho and Kingston were really, really good. You can't expect anything less from these two. Kofi Kingston has got a lot of untapped potential, and he's really started to really get into that. And we all know how great Jericho is inside the squared circle. So it was really great work, really great match between these guys, and so I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 out of 5. I really didn't think anything was bad about this match. Jericho defeats Kofi Kingston. I kind of figured that was going to happen. When you have your number one contender in a match like that, and you're pushing him, to be the number one contender and possibly the next WWE champion, the last thing you want him to do on his road to the championship match at Extreme Rules is to have him lose momentum and lose a match. Next up, we had Lord Tensai and R-Truth. Now, they had Tensai, Albert, A-Train, and they had him cut a promo, but they had him do it entirely in Japanese. Now, I know a little Japanese. I want to say very little from watching the Kamen Rider series. Yes, I do watch the Kamen Rider series right now, and right now one of my personal favorites is Kamen Rider Forze. And another one is Kamen Rider O's. I really enjoyed that series as well. But I know a little of Japanese, a little bit, but I really did not understand a single thing that Tensai said in his promo, other than the word Tensai, from which Michael Cole repeatedly said means destruction or something of the like. But it was basically, they had Tensai going to a major featured match. I guess a headliner, John Cena, and who they have him face this week, R-Truth. Now, nothing bad, nothing against R-Truth. I'm not saying he's a jobber. I'm not saying he's a squasher. But, he's kind of lost some of that, I don't know what it is, that made him truly unique. The little Jimmy, I will say this, the little Jimmy gimmick is really funny. It's entertaining. But when it comes to like main event status, stuff like that, he just, something about it is, I don't think that it can carry him to like a championship. I don't think it can carry him to being like either a United States champion, Intercontinental champion, or maybe a tag champion, maybe if he finds the right partner. I mean, they had a good thing going with Kofi Kingston, and then they broke him up. But a singles championship, I don't think the little Jimmy gimmick can actually carry him to a singles championship. But it is getting him over with the crowd, though. That's the key thing, though. That's why we still see him on TV week in and week out. That the gimmick, the little Jimmy gimmick, I'm pretty sure you guys would agree with me, is an entertaining gimmick. It's a gimmick that's getting over with the WWE Universe, and that's the reason why we constantly see him on TV, because he knows how to entertain. However, he did get squashed by Tensai in this match, and like I said, if they put Tensai in against a headliner like John Cena, and this week it's R-Truth. It was like, we're going to only use you for one main event, and then next week you're just going to go back to beating up guys who potentially give you no match. 3 out of 5. Next up, we had a segment involving Kane and Randy Orton. Kane was coming out trying to cut this chiller promo about, their Falls Count Anywhere match coming up at Extreme Rules. And then Randy Orton pops up and apparently wants to return the favor, for Kane attacking Cowboy Bob Orton. Storyline-wise, who's Kane's father? Oh, yes! That's probably about the worst Paul Bearer impression you'll ever hear from anybody, including my mom. Anyway, as I make my little brothers laugh when I said that, right, Cody and Jody? Anyway, Randy Orton wanted to return the favor, and storyline-wise, Kane's dad is Paul Bearer. So what does Randy Orton do to try to get back at Kane for what happened with him and Cowboy Bob Orton? Why, he goes after Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer is tied up and gets shoved into a freezer. Now, Kane gives the initial reaction that, he's concerned that he's going to do exactly what Randy Orton did, and he was going to go after Randy Orton to try to save his father, and of course, apparently that did not happen. Because what ends up happening is Kane says that his true dad is the devil himself, and he could care less what happens to Paul Bearer. So, very chilling segment. I can't wait to see what we get out of these two guys at Extreme Rules in the Falls Count Anywhere match. 4 out of 5 for the segment. Then, we have, Brock Lesnar apparently comes in, and I'll tell you what, Brock Lesnar comes in and attacks Josh Matthews. Josh Matthews is just trying to conduct an interview, ask the questions that need to be asked. Me being a commentator myself, I really don't think commentators should be pushed around like that, whether it's storyline-wise or not. So, 2 out of 5. even though that was probably a planned segment, still. That makes commentators look and reporters look bad. So, but anyway, tag match. It's a Big Show and Great Khali versus Alberto Del Rio and Cody Rhodes. Now, apparently, they said their combined weight is 768 pounds or something of the like. Now, if both guys are, I'm calling the WWE out on this. If both guys weigh in at over 400 pounds, how in the bloody hell can their combined weight be close to 780 pounds? If both of them clock in at over 400 pounds each. It's mathematically not possible. It's mathematically not possible. It's got to be in the 800 pound range. So I don't know why they said it's, because Big Show has got to be about 440, and I'm pretty sure Great Khali is around that same general vicinity, maybe around 430, 420. So I don't see how that their combined weight could be like 700. Excuse me. 768 pounds. But the reason they had this match, apparently on SmackDown, which I did miss, I do apologize, that's why our review wasn't up on it. Apparently on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes attacked the Great Khali, injuring his leg a little bit, and Khali wanted some revenge, so we got a tag match, Big Show and Great Khali, Alberto Del Rio and Cody Rhodes. I thought it was a good match. Great Khali did some good selling on his leg, though. You know, they constantly mention the fact that Cody Rhodes attacked him on SmackDown and his leg wasn't 100%. And normally we don't see a good sell job from Great Khali, but we did see one out of him this week when he was selling his leg injury. So I thought it was a good one, and it really looked like Big Show was going to go that same route because they were going after his leg as well. But towards the latter part of the match, Alberto Del Rio backtracked and abandoned Cody Rhodes in the match, and Cody Rhodes ended up just pretty much getting the raw end of the deal here. I'm trying to watch my language a little bit. I am in my parents' house with the little kids in here, so you kind of guys, if you guys want to know why I'm holding back on the language, one, I don't like to use that kind of language, but. And two, I am in my parents' house. I don't want my little brothers repeating what I say, because I would get in some deep doo-doo if I did. Anyway, I thought it was a good match. Anyway, Big Show and Great Khali end up getting the win. Imagine if they put the tag team titles on Big Show and Great Khali. Who, like I said on last week's review, who in the world could they get to take the titles off of them? I mean, as I said on last week's review, now, think back to when Big Show and Kane were the tag team champions. Who did they get to take the tag titles off them? They had to use the entire Spirit Squad that Dolph Ziggler was a part of as Nikki! So, if they put the tag titles on Big Show and Khali, who in the world would they get to take the titles off of them? Just my thoughts. Anyway, next up, it was a Divas title match between Beth Phoenix and Nikki Bella. Now, everybody is aware of the situation involving the Bella twins. Apparently, their contracts are going to be ending this month, I believe. So let's do something smart and put the Divas title on Nikki Bella. By the way, one thing I would like to know is who in the world approved the Bella's ring outfits for last night? Because we, let's just say, if I was in my place right now doing this review, you would kind of know what I'm saying about this. But since I'm in my parents' house with my little brothers here, let's just say we saw a little something extra from the Bellas. And if you guys want to know what I'm talking about, check out my Facebook page, and I have up on there what we really saw from the Bellas. So be sure you check that out. If you're watching this right now on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer. One thing I do love about the new channel, real quick here, is they actually do have the little icons on your YouTube channel where you can actually click on either a Facebook icon or a Twitter icon, and it'll take you straight to either my Facebook or my Twitter. So if you want to if you want to know what I really said about what the little extra something we saw from the Bellas, then go on my Facebook. I have it on there as one of my status updates. So be sure you check that out. But anyway, they put the title on Nikki Bella. Apparently, the match was turned into a lumberjill match by the new executive. If I was in my parents' house, I would say what Eve Torres' character is, but since I'm not in my house, executive assistant or something of the like for to John Laurinaitis, Eve Torres, made it a lumberjill match. It looked kind of interesting, and they put the title on Nikki Bella. Now we're gonna have a Divas title match at Extreme Rules, because we have to have it, because with the Bella's contract not renewed by the end of the month, what's the point of having the Divas title on her? So they're going to have her drop it to somebody at the pay-per-view. I don't know if who they're going to drop it to, because it looked like they might have had Beth Phoenix kind of injure herself to kind of ride her off the storyline for a while. I'm not sure why, but that's the way they did it. And this hand looks like I have a horn. Anyway, no comments. But anyway, you can kind of see I'm not comfortable doing my review in this hat. I'm so used to my Pac-Man hat. I don't know what happened to it, but I have to have a hat or something. But so I don't know who they're going to put it on for Nikki Bella to drop it. We know already Bree's been champion, but Nikki's never been champion. I guess maybe they put the title on there just to make them both feel relevant, I guess. But 3 out of 5 on that one, just because we saw a little something from the Bellas, if you know what I mean. Again, go on my Facebook, you'll know what I'm talking about. Next up, we had now this segment involving CM Punk and Chris Jericho. This is a field sobriety test, and the way this was set up earlier in the night, Alex Riley goes to Jericho and says that Punk kicked Riley out of the locker room and because he was drinking. And next thing you know, they get Jericho peeks in the locker room, and from we see Punk on the phone, and there's a bottle of I'm not a drinker. All I know is it was a bottle of alcohol. I don't know what it was. If you guys know what it was, feel free to not clue me in, because I really don't care for alcohol drinking or anything like that. But anyway, all I know is there's a bottle of alcohol. That's all we need to know. And it looked like Punk was drinking it. So Jericho goes to Laurinaitis, demands a field sobriety test, because apparently, according to what Eve said, the rules state that no WWE superstar is allowed to drink alcohol within 12 hours of a program. And Punk was drinking there. And, of course, if he fails the field sobriety test, then he has no choice but to strip Punk and award the title over to Jericho. How that plans out, I don't know. So next thing you know, we're having the field sobriety test. There's a red line there, and I want to say this marvelous piece of acting by CM Punk. He was fooling everybody, except me, of course, and the WWE fans, because I kind of figured the way it was going to go, and it did go the way I thought it was going to go. It was CM Punk leading everybody on, especially Jericho. Of course, he was going to fail the actual test the first few times, and he wasn't going to walk the line. Then he asks for one more chance, and next, he starts saying his alphabet backwards, even though he messes up the S and the T. I don't know if anybody caught that, but me and Studley Man Ashley, we both caught that. And he starts doing the worst moonwalk ever on the straight line, and of course he does a Ric Flair strut, woo, on the straight line. So the next thing you know, he proceeds to kick the crap out of Jericho. Now, even though this was extremely predictable, even though me and Ashley called it, the reason why this segment gets a 4 out of 5 from me is the execution of it. Sometimes, when wrestling becomes predictable, it becomes boring. However, when, even though it becomes predictable, if the execution is there, if the execution this is my thinking on it. I don't know if anybody else thinks about it this way, but if my thinking is, if the execution of it is there, if the execution is perfect, then it more than makes up for the fact that it's predictable. And the perfect example is the segment with CM Punk and Jericho in the field sobriety test. We all knew that CM Punk was setting everybody up. He was setting Jericho up for a beatdown. We all saw it coming, and what made it better is even though it was predictable, but the way it was carried out, the way it was executed was marvelous. It was brilliant. It was beautifully done. It was hilarious, and it was entertaining, and we all got to see what we wanted to see, and that was Punk get his hands on Jericho for what he's been saying about his family ever since WrestleMania. So, 4 out of 5 for me. That's my take on it. I don't know. Again, if you guys have a different opinion about it, be sure you put your opinions in the comment section below. I always like to hear back from you guys on what I have to say and what you guys think on it. Next thing you know, we have Mark Henry and Sheamus with Daniel Bryan. Yes! Big shout out to Abstract Zodiac. Big shout out to the Abstract Zodiac here on YouTube. He actually counted on last week's review how many times I said the word yes. I think it was like 23 times. I can't remember, but he actually put it and counted in the actual video in itself, and he put it in the comment section on last week's review. So a big shout out to the Abstract Zodiac for actually counting how many times I did yes. So a big shout out to him. So they had Daniel Bryan be the special guest referee for Mark Henry and Sheamus. I kind of saw the route it was going to go. At first, there were 2 or 3 different scenarios that could have played out. Now, the first scenario, this all spans from, the stare down between Daniel Bryan and Sheamus while Mark Henry was out of the frame. The first scenario that popped into my head is Mark Henry was going to charge at Sheamus. Sheamus was going to see it coming and get out of the way, and Mark Henry would have bulldozed Daniel Bryan. But the other scenario was, of course, Mark Henry was going to capitalize on the distraction and quickly put Sheamus down, and Daniel Bryan was going to screw him over, and that's what happened. He did a fast 3 count. That ends up what happening. But what really made the segment better was what happened after. Daniel Bryan took the referee's shirt off. Because remember, if Sheamus strikes the referee either by accident or on purpose, he loses his job. The match is over. Daniel Bryan takes off the shirt, starts to leave. Sheamus comes up after him and starts beating him up. And then we see a really, 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 really awesome bro kick from Sheamus to Mark Henry. Then Daniel Bryan puts Sheamus on his knees and then just kicks the life. Again, I'm trying to watch my language. I'm in the parents' house with the little brothers. Don't want them to say what I say. But basically, after the kick to the back of the head from Sheamus, he was seeing Tweety birds, like from his head, and then locks in the yes lock where we hear him go, yes, yes, yes. It sounded like Daniel Bryan trying to take a dump in the middle of the ring. He was going like that, yes. And Cody and Jody, you thought that was funny as well, huh? But that's the way it went. So it's going to get a 3.5 out of 5 from me. The matchup in itself, if they would have had this matchup in itself and Daniel Bryan leaving, it probably would have been a 2 out of 5 because it was kind of predictable to see that, of course, a screw job was going to happen. But since they had the post-match activity with the beating with Sheamus to Daniel Bryan to Mark Henry to Daniel Bryan doing it on Sheamus, that's why he goes up to 3.5 out of 5. The post-match activity between that happened after the match was over was really what saved it, in my opinion. Next up, we have the tag team champions Epico and Prima with Rosa Mendez. Always great to see her. Taking on Zack Ryder and Santino Marella. This team went over on the tag team champions. How what does that say about what the WWE thinks of the current tag team division and the champions and the situation? What does that say about them? You know, I made a video almost a year some odd ago, right here on WGS-TV, with my thoughts on the current state of the tag team division. And I must say, you know, ever since then in the WWE, it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. You know, you have a good tag team in Epico and Primo, and then they just throw Santino Marella and Zack Ryder together, and you know, even though they are over on the crowd, but you know, they just throw them together and they go over on your tag team champions. One thing I'm going to go 3 out of 5 on this one because it still was entertaining, but you know, it's kind of a shame about what's happening with the tag team division as of late in the WWE. Then next up we have a match which was sponsored by Taco Bell. Sponsored by Taco Bell. And it was Brodus Clay and Hornswoggle in his own version of a Brodus Clay singlet. Making me feel a little nauseous here. Taking on Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger. They're really heavily involving Brodus Clay in this feud and the storyline with Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger. It's really good to see, you know, they're using him more for, you know, than just squash matches. They're actually starting to utilize him in an actual storyline. I made mention of that some time ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, in a SmackDown review. I was actually talking about this, that they're actually utilizing him in the storyline, and it's good to see that. Brodus Clay and Hornswoggle end up getting the win, but don't be surprised if we see a return match on SmackDown this Friday. 3.5 out of 5, just because I got to see Brodus Clay's dancers. I can't remember their names, but they're hot. Who cares? I'm probably going to get some comments for that. Next up, then we had the eventual signing, or contract signing, between Brock Lesnar and John Cena for Extreme Rules this Sunday. Now, the reason why I say eventual, what they did is apparently Lesnar had some contract demands. You know, that he's not the same farm boy that he was 8 years ago. Nobody called him a farm boy. He called himself a farm boy. But basically, he wanted to be the star that nobody could touch. You know, that he can do what he wants, go say what he wants, he can hurt whoever he wants without any fears of repercussions. You know, Sheamus got fined $500,000 when Brock Lesnar hurts somebody. He's not going to be fined. He's actually going to be paid more money for doing it. And from now on, it's no longer going to be Monday Night Raw. It's going to be Monday Night Raw starring Brock Lesnar. And John Laurinaitis says, yes, I agree to those terms. So the next thing you know, we have Cena comes out, and Cena's wearing the chain with the padlock on it, you know, from Thugonomics. And I made the comment on my Facebook, you know, I asked the question, are we getting Thugonomics back at Extreme Rules this Sunday with John Cena taking on Brock Lesnar? We could not. If you guys noticed, when he brought out the chain, you know, we heard more of the Let's Go Cena chants, and the Cena sucks chants kind of died out. We didn't hear the Cena sucks chants as much as we normally would until he brought out the chain. You know, is WWE and John Cena finally doing what the fans want now? Are they finally bringing back Thugonomics gimmick, the gimmick that put John Cena on the map? Remember, I even said that on my John Cena Word Life DVD review. You know, are they doing that? They could be going that route. But it was a very intense segment. You know, normally when we see a WWE contract signing, what we see? A beatdown. We didn't see that this time. But the match is signed and set for this Sunday, Cena and Lesnar Extreme Rules in an Extreme Rules match. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 out of 5. I thought this was overall. I thought it was a really good Raw, very entertaining. You know, usually expect something good out of a 3-hour show. I thought it was a really good to see. Really nice to have a surprise appearance from Brock Lesnar. I'm not Brock Lesnar. Edge. But the Lesnar Cena thing, the way they ended it, you know, I thought it was good to save that to the end of the show and not actually opened up the show with that kind of intense, you know, energy in a sense. Because if they would have opened with that, it would have been really, really hard for everybody to follow it, in my opinion. Because normally in a wrestling show, I can tell you this for sure from what I've seen, you know, when you open up with a really, really good match, you know, it kind of makes it hard for everybody else to try to follow it. But, you know, that's my feeling on my feelings on it. And what I'm going to know from you, the WGS-TV viewers and subscribers, what do you think of Monday Night Raw this week? You know the 2 ways to do it. 1, put your comments in the comment section below or in a video response detailing your thoughts on Monday Night Raw. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer. I also like to remind everybody that GCW presents Spring in the Ring this coming Saturday, April 28th at the Amelia Recreational Center in Amelia, Louisiana. Be sure if you guys live in the Louisiana area that you come out and check us out. I will be there myself. And also for this, I'm still. Here's what we're gonna do, guys. For the 1,000 subscriber DVD giveaway, to the person who is the 1,000th subscriber here on youtube.com/WrestleGamer. Well, I will have a DVD giveaway. What DVD it is still yet to be determined, but there will be a DVD giveaway to the 1,000th subscriber to youtube.com/WrestleGamer. So be sure you spread the word around. If you want some free stuff, a free DVD, you have to subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and make sure that you're the 1,000th subscriber. It can happen, guys. I have the belief in you. I have the belief in myself. I have the belief in Ashley, my Ring of Honor guy, and the belief in all the GCW fans who watch GCW right here on WGS-TV that we can pull off 1,000 subscribers. So if I have the belief in you guys and in myself and Ashley and Ring of Honor guy and the GCW audience, we can pull it off. We can do it. So be sure you get the word out and tell people to subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer. So with that being said, I'm Double B Billy Bujo saying thank you very much for watching.